Hello, this is Group 20. My name is Kanonji Edward, and I'm going to be introducing our project, that is the Intelligence Shop Assistant app. My group mates are Kabajangu Lindsay, Ndumba Jana, and Mwesigwa Ine. So mainly what we observed from what we're doing and everyday life, the problem that we came up with is that we noticed that most of Uganda's economy depends on businesses. And by businesses, you're talking about small and medium enterprises, for example, the guys in town. And then we also noticed that many of them rely on manual records to do their accounting. So we wanted to propose a system that can make this easy for them, that can make it very easy for them to know what to track their finances and to have proper bookkeeping. So the other thing is that most of them use the Luganda in town, maybe for transactions, and maybe like this limits them from other traders who don't speak the language. So this system also uses NLP and ASR for voice input to help them understand and translate what they're going to do. So we propose a project about the intelligence repository app that supports English to Luganda conversion and then also converts voice text inputs into structured financial records. That is the brief summary of the introduction. And then moving on to the problem statement. Ugandan SMEs use informal and fragmented bookkeeping methods. They use manual records that are hard to organize and analyze. And then existing tools assume English literacy and keyboard use, which is not what's on the ground and what not many Ugandans, mainly those in town, that are comfortable using or like have the skills to use them. So there is a lack of voice input and local language support, which limits many traders, like I said, from doing transactions or maybe trading with guys that do not speak the local language. And then SMEs also lack accurate financial insights and transactional history. So how they do it is that when you sell something, you give them the cash and you put the cash in a box and then they'll write down in a piece of paper or in a book. And that's how they track the records. Those papers or the books can be lost, you can end up writing a wrong figure, which will make your accounting hectic at the end. So this affects their decision making, the access to credit, and profitability. So an inclusive voice-enabled multilingual solution is needed for this kind of thing, which takes us to the significance of this project. Maybe before I welcome my next speaker to talk about the specific objectives on how we are going to do this project, the specific objective that we are looking at is that with this system, it enables guys to, or it enables traders to, if let me say they have made a transaction and he has sold a good and a certain amount of money has been exchanged, he will just say this money for this product as a voice input into the application, and then the application will have the capability to convert that into text input and then have proper tracking of the transaction itself. So I welcome the next presenter to talk about how to take us through the specific objectives. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, the previous speaker. I'll be continuing from where the previous speaker stopped. I'll be taking us through the specific objectives, the main objectives, and the literature review. So basically, the objectives of this project, one, we have to conduct a system analysis and requirements specification for a voice-enabled bookkeeping system tailored to Ugandan small and medium enterprises. We also aim to design the system architecture and use a user interface that supports Luganda and English for both voice and text input. Next slide. And then also, this project aims to implement the mobile bookkeeping application, integrating speech to text, translation, NLP-based transaction processing, and secure cloud storage. It also aims to test, validate, and deploy the developed system using unit testing, system testing, and pilot testing with SME users that the next speaker will talk about. Next slide. So the main objective of this project is basically to develop a multilingual or multiple languages, but specifically I shall be using English and Uganda. Also a voice-enabled bookkeeping system, which is also an intelligent shop assistant, which allows Ugandan small and medium enterprise owners to record, translate, and store and analyze their daily financial transactions within their businesses or enterprises. Next slide. So based off what's happening or the research we made from current bookkeeping accounting systems, we noted that most small and medium scale enterprises form the backbone of Uganda's economy, basically contributing 90% of the private sector businesses. Their daily operations also include stock purchasing, sales, expense tracking, inventory, and profit reconciliations. We also noted that most shops rely on manual bookkeeping using notebooks or informal ledgers. And most people are they are low. Okay, not low, sorry. Okay, here, there's low literacy and a lack of accounting knowledge, which leads to inaccurate or missing records. Let's say some business owners in Chukubo or those that don't have the knowledge of proper bookkeeping. And then also we noted that there's poor record keeping limits in most enterprises, which limits financial visibility and access to formal credit. Next slide. So we tried to create a comparison table based of the systems that are being used currently. So we have the QuickBooks, the Wave, the Keeper, Odo, and proposed app systems. So for the QuickBooks system, we have a text stroke form input, and then it supports English only, and there's no AI or NLP integration. For Wave, you have text and image input. It's only in English, and there's no AI. Keeper, there's only text. There's English and Pidgin, and there's also no AI input, or I mean AI integration. And then for Odo, we have form and text, which is in English and French, but it has limited AI and NLP integration. And for the proposed app, it's mainly voice and text, and it's in English and Luganda, but it has limited NLP translation. Next slide. So after we carried out our literature review, we also noted the research gaps and also proposed solutions to these gaps. So most of these existing systems ignore language diversity and also low digital literacy for those who don't have knowledge. And also, Ugandan small and medium enterprises need simple, inclusive, and context-aware tools that most of these systems lack. And then also, we hope to implement a proposed intelligent shop assistant app, which has voice and text input in Luganda and English, which also has NLP-based transaction interpretation, also automatic translation and record generation from the data that you input in text or voice, and are designed for informal and cash-based businesses, which also enables accurate bookkeeping, better decisions, and less financial errors, I would say. Next slide. So my colleague will take us through the rest of our slides, but I will take us through the introduction of the research methodology, which we start with the system analysis methods that we plan to use. For example, we shall acquire data from requirements that we shall acquire from questionnaires, and also we shall use semi-structured interviews with some business owners and shopkeepers and also employees of these shops. And also we shall carry out observational analysis from enterprises that are around our community. Thank you. My name is Karajungu Lindsay, and I will hand over to the next speaker.
Thank you. My name is Mwesiba Elaine. I'm going to be taking you through, first of all, the data analysis techniques we are going to use. The first one is statistical analysis, where we are going to use tools like Microsoft Excel and Google Sheets to come up with descriptive data like charts and frequency distributions so that we are able to tell the dominant user needs that we need to pay attention to when creating our application. And then we have thematic content analysis, where we transcribe and code or highlight the recurring themes in the data that we collected from the semi-structured interviews and from the observation. And then we have requirements classification, where we categorize the system requirements into functional requirements like voice input and transaction storage, and also non-functional requirements like the security of the system and the functionality and scalability. And then the system design methods we are going to use include use case modeling, where we identify the categories of users that are going to use our application, and then develop diagrams or create diagrams that define how each of these categories interact with the system and the features that they'll be able to access when using the system. And then we have UML structure and behavioral modeling through the use of class diagrams, where we define the system entities and the relationships between each of them, and sequence diagrams, which define the flow of the system or the flow of how the application works. And then we have developing low fidelity and high fidelity interface mockups, which represent how the system will look on the screen of a mobile device to a user, and also the different features that will appear on the screen and the interactions or how the user will be able to input data via voice or text in the application. For our proposed system workflow, we have a 3-tier architecture, which has the presentation layer, that is the interface, that has features like the input for voice and text, and also reports and a dashboard, and also a section for settings where a user can edit their profile. And then we have the processing layer, which is responsible for translating speech to text and also translating Luganda to English. And also we have transaction passing, where the important parts of the information that is input is highlighted. That is information like the prices, the transaction types, and the items. And also the analytics engine that comes up with analytics or diagrams that represent the transaction, how the transaction for our business is going. And then we have the data layer, which is responsible for storage, both online through the use of cloud storage and offline on a device for users that might not be online. And there's also a security layer that's responsible for encrypting users' data and also authenticating a user to make sure that their data is safe. And then we also have external services like mobile money APIs that enable users to use mobile money services for the application, like maybe payment of subscription or something of that sort. And then we also have SMS notifications and cloud backup services. So the tools and technologies that we are going to use include Flutter, that's the framework we are going to use to develop the mobile application and the interface. And then we have Python and TensorFlow, which are going to be used to for handling the natural language processing or the translation of Luganda to English. And then we have Google Speech to Text API, which is responsible for converting audio data to written text. And then we have Firebase, which is responsible for the back end, that is hosting and also storage of data in the cloud, and also authentication of user data and data privacy, and also ensuring that a user is able to access their data across different devices. And then GitHub is the platform we are going to use to manage and store the code for developing our application, and also version control, where we are able to do rollbacks in case a newer version is having errors. I'll hand over to our next speaker. Thank you.
My name is Kimba Jonah, and I'll continue from where my colleague stopped. For testing, okay, what we have here. Okay, for testing, we will have different kinds of tests. For example, we'll have unit testing, integration testings, and also systems testings, and also others. Lastly, user acceptance testing. Next slide. And among the sustainable development goals that we have, the alignment we have a decent work and economic. And here we have the growth support. We have the SME growth, productivity, and sustainable livelihood. Since this product is meant to help the daily economic businesses that are running mostly locally, this will help grow and support the economic development of products and businesses. Then we have the innovation and innovation and infrastructure development, where we have promotions of digital and AI-driven technologies in these small businesses. And this application will help implement all the AI-driven, whereby we have the natural language processing of different languages using the Google. And then we'll have quality education, whereby there's lifelong learning, and this enhances digital and financial literacy through practical technology. And lastly, among the sustainable development goals, we have the reduced inequalities between different languages. That's in this we'll have different languages that will be used, and then this will have the voice-based features, which will involve the use of AI, driven technologies, and also the processing of those languages, so that the user can be able to use the software freely and with free use. Next slide. And basically, as we are concluding, this intelligent shop assistant app represents a transformative solution designed specifically based bookkeeping, basically by these small businesses or enterprises. And by integrating the voice-enabled technologies in different languages, so this will be a multilingual support for both English and Uganda. Initially, that is what we have. And in further developments, we could have more languages. For now, we have English and Uganda. We'll be doing English and Uganda. And in implementing this, we'll be using the natural language processing capabilities, this system, so that you can eliminate literacy and technology barriers. So this application also enables shop owners to record transactions naturally through voice or text, and automatically processes and categorizes the financial data and generates the comprehensive reports that provide actionable business insights and also accountability. Thank you. Mostly among the key achievements that we have in this as we conclude, we have the inclusive design that will support multilingual voice and text input that eliminates literacy barriers. And so that bookkeeping is easy, and also automated processes of the languages by the use of natural language processing, translations or AI-driven technologies. And also we have cultural relevance, which supports the local business practices, including the date tracking Akubanja, basically dates and the tracking them so that they can be able to have accountability of their finances. And also my mobile money integrations through the use of APIs. And lastly, we have the offline capability whereby the user can have the local storage and maybe later synchronize with the cloud when the user is online. Thank you. That was Jona. Thank you.